welcome back into the channel. I just finished up hole one, as you just saw. Well, actually you'll see this before you see hole one, but I just finished up hole one. Super windy up there on the tee of hole one, so I didn't do my introduction up there. But today we are out here at PC18 trying to beat our best score from the tournament we won out here. Back in August of this past year, there's a 2-round event out here where I shot a 59 opening round, which was top of the field going into round two. Round two, I pretty much just held on to the lead, made some mistakes here and there, but otherwise, won the event. My goal today is to see if I am a better golfer today than I was on that day. So, we're out here trying to shoot better than a 59. Our goal is, my goal is to go under par. But that being said, the goal today is to beat that score. Hole one there, short little par 3. And so, moving on to hole 2. Legs. That's going to be really close to being in bounds. Before I go too far and go up to my putt on hole 2, I do want to say that this isn't so much about being a great disc golfer than it is to see what areas I still need to improve on for this season. So we're out here, we're going to try. You probably won't hear much from me throwing shots. I'm going to get commentary Cooper out later, so that way I'm going to go and watch it and commentate it and kind of tell you what I was thinking on the back end of this conversation. But so I'm going to put some headphones in like I would in a tournament, and we're gonna go knock down that putt, and we're gonna start our quest here, hopefully 1 under par going into hole 3. Hole 3 here, 369 feet, par 3, OB left, woods on the right. Nothing that is super helpful when it comes to if you end up in a bad spot on this hole. You're going to end up taking at least a bogey, most likely. That being said, I'm going with my Flippy Onyx here. I hang it out over the OB with that left to right. I hang it out a little bit further than I like, and I put it in a good spot. I'm under this tree here, so I hit the tree and just fell straight down. And I have a little bit of a window for a putt. And this is a big big putt because I'm 1 under going into hole 3 here. And the goal is to hit +1, and so to get to 2 under through 3, it'd be a fabulous start to that goal. Knock it down, right between the two trees. The gap looks a lot smaller in the video here than it does in real life. So it really wasn't small of a gap, it just looks smaller. But I'm feeling good going into hole 4 here. Hole 4 on the course is a par 3. It's listed at 320, and it is a tough par 4. I'm trying to decide between discs. I'm going Buzz here, and I just turn it a little bit too much. A little too much Anheuser out of the hand, but I got a decent kick. So here's my shot that landed in the fairway off my Buzz. I'm debating on the backhand or the forehand. And this is where decision making and we tend to not agree all the time, because I couldn't make up my mind. And then I decided to go with probably the lower percentage shot, and I doink it off of 2 trees and land in the middle. You can see the defeated look on my face there. So jump putt up here and take my bogey. Not a great hole, but a bogey that I'm not too sad to take. I'm still at 1 under going into the 5th hole here. The 5th hole is just a big turnover. Not a big turnover, it's a short turnover. Par 3, 193 feet. I'm going P2 here just on some Anheuser. And honestly, not a bad shot. I just hit the tree that I was trying to miss. So kick off to the side here. I'm a little off the fairway. I'm trying to decide, am I going to putt it? Am I going to flick it? Am I going to throw something? Again, you see the overhand look there. Not a shot I have in my system, but apparently one I thought was a good idea for that. Just trying to get my foot. I thought was a good idea here. It's a decision that's hard to make because, again, I have a goal in mind and I don't want to make the wrong choice, which I realize isn't the best way to play disc golf. Sometimes you just got to make that choice. And so I pretty much went here. I was like, all right, I'm going to go with what I originally thought. I'm going to just putt it over these trees. Get the putt up and over. And it plops down. Leave myself with a little bit longer putt than I'd like for par. But that being said, I will take it. Hole 6. Par 4, it is 330 feet, 320 feet, something like that. It is one of those that is a quote-unquote must-get birdie on the course. Made the correction with the Buzz with a little more hyzer than I did on hole 4. Put myself in a really nice spot here. Kind of looking at a couple of options with the putt. Decide that the best option is just to spin one underneath this branch here in the middle of the frame and get it close to the basket. Plopped it right where I wanted to with a nice little tap in birdie. Hole 7. Hole 7 is a par 3. It is 250 feet, 240 feet, and I'm going Buzz again off the tee. And this is where the wind, I didn't read it very well. I should have gone something more stable because my Buzz stays dead straight into that tree. So that's an out of bounds area, and so here I am lining up an approach shot, and I cook the approach shot. You don't see where it lands, but you can tell by my reaction it was bad. It was really bad. And so here I am, running down to where my shot's at. This is not a good hole to take a big number on. It should be a par at worst, especially if you do with something stable off the tee. I went out of bounds, and that was a bad start. But you're going to see here a spiral start to take place that is hard to get out of when you're in the woods and not hitting your lines well. This is one of those shots where it's like, all right, well, I got to take my medicine. So I'm just going to toss this up, plop her down, call it good. I think I end up hitting the tree, if I remember correctly, and bouncing just to the screen right of the basket. Oh no, I didn't hit the tree. That wasn't this time. That must have been a different time. But I'm trying to just take my medicine here and move on to the next hole without too much thought or concern behind it. But that's really kind of hard to do sometimes. You could tell just like my body language is not great in this situation, and I think I kind of carried this over to the next hole because that putt was way right on the basket. I caught well, but you do start to see a little bit of a carryover here in my mental game that I've been trying to fix. So moving into hole 8 here, we have another par 4, 545 feet. There's a triple Mando down the fairway here. I'm debating between a couple of onyxes here, and I decided to go with my pretty neutral onyx and just try to put a little hyzer on it, flip it right over those bushes in the middle. And honestly, I throw a good shot, just a little too low, and I clip the bushes. I didn't go out of bounds or to the hazard on the left there. I have a decent look at the triple Mando, and I go origin, and I cook it over. And here is where things start to spiral. Because you come back, I grab my next disc, and I go buzz on some anhyzer, and put it right through there, and then take a bad kick. It was a kick. It wasn't a bad kick. It was just a kick. But my body language is bad at this point. You'll see in this next clip, I'm just trying to find footing and a place to throw a disc at this point. I have my P2 in my hand. Hopefully, I want to try to throw it just straight there, but there's a nice little branch in my way. So that's not an option. I try to go step out and see if there's a forehand line. I don't trust my forehand after the shot on 4, so it's hard for me to commit to that forehand line. So then you see me getting some footing on a patent pending. And I decide that the patent pending is my best option, which anytime you have your back to the basket, you don't have a good shot or a good line or whatever it might be. I'm trying to commit to something that I trust while also making a wise decision. Because at this point, I'm sitting, that was my 4th throw. I'm sitting 4, this is 5. Just trying to get out of here with the least amount of damage possible, but I'm taking a double bogey at best. This is the thought in my mind. And so I throw this shot, and I throw it how I want to. It's not a bad shot. I just couldn't get a ton of power behind it. And so it ended up a little bit short of the basket, leaving me with a putt that you see coming through your screen there, and it just hyzers out. I try a second time and hit the chains, but the first one just hyzered out on me. And there's the slow walk down to my disc. I'm thinking to myself that this is going to be the 2-hole stretch that cost me. Because I play both of these over par with a 5 on one and a 7 on another. I've gone from 2 under to +3 in 2 holes, leading me to hole 9. Hole 9 here, 170 feet, par 3, just another little turnover. Again, I'm going P2 here. I put the P2 back in my bag just recently because it is more controllably understable than my Keystone was. I usually go Luna. I took a tree. I ended up throwing the Luna on the second shot and parked it pretty much. But I got another look between the trees. Not a bad look, but I got a look on a putt that, honestly, I like. I like this little Annie putt out of my hand. And I get a little bit of confidence back here with this shot. Hole 10, par 3, 220 feet. It is a aggressive shot to the left. And so I'm debating between a zone and the Glacier. I decided to go Glacier. A little bit faster, don't have to throw it quite as hard to get the fade in the distance that I'm looking for. And so we line up the Glacier, and comes out a little bit flatter than I would have liked, but I don't hate where it ended up. Now we're just going to jump putt up here, take our par, and move on with our day. Again, we're not in a bad spot now. We're 2 over through 10 at this point, leaving us some holes that are very birdieable down the line. And again, the goal's only +1 at this point. I don't know what happened after this hole completely. I was like, oh, I'm going to bounce back just fine. Hole 11, par 3, 293 feet. I go Cicada here. I go my Z Cicada, and I put it out on Annie, but it doesn't come back from out of bounds. It just stays out of bounds the whole time. I don't know if you can see it in this clip, but I ended up throwing a buzz and pretty much edge a circle up there. But I'm out of bounds. I jump putt up, and I park it, and there we go. We take a bogey. Hole 12 here. Par 3, you can see it right there. It is 350 feet. This is a big shot to the right, so if you have a big forehand, you can probably make it there. A turnover is hard because it fights back out if you don't throw it hard enough. P3X off the tee here, a little bit of hyzer, land it right in the middle of the fairway, playing this shot for par. That's another shot here in the fairway. We're going to try to jump putt this, and this was a horrid decision. Can't even pretend like this was a good decision. But I didn't trust my up shots, and so I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to the jump putt, and my jump putt comes out of my hand on Anheuser, which shouldn't have, but you see it just gets pushed to the ground. I'm at like 30 feet here. This is my par putt for 30 feet, from 30 feet, and this is probably a horrid bogey to take if I do. But we hit the putt. That was a big putt. There's still a chance here. Now, moving into hole 13, we have a par 3 here on hole 13. It is 412 feet. I'm going with the layup play here, so I'm going stable Sagara. This is my overstable Sagara to just land in the fairway. I go Sagara because I don't want to have to throw anything super hard. And so then I'm going zone here. And I feel like I play a good shot here, but depth perception on this hole has me way off because I end up edge of circle on an elevated basket. And you'll see here in this clip where sometimes decision making gets the best of me. I step up to take this putt, and then the wind picks up, and so you'll see me step back off. It was at this point that I should have just put this under the basket, taken my bogey, and moved on, because there's a good chance that if I do that, I can birdie the next 3 holes, potentially, leaving me at my goal of 1 over. But I decide, well, I need this par more than a bogey, and I sail my putt. I didn't even get it up to the basket. Then you see my bogey putt hits the elevated basket, and we go to tap in a double bogey. At this point, we're pretty much mathematically eliminated unless something crazy happens, like an ace on 16 or 15. Those are options. Moving into hole 14 here, we have another par 4. So not back to back, but a par 4 here. This is 550 feet. Hazard on the right, OB on the left. There's a little bit of hazard in the middle here. I decide to go with this new Thrasher to my bag. It's an old TI Thrasher. It's very straight, and I put a good move on it. I really like this shot. It flips up a little bit more than I anticipate, but I think that was bad wind read on my point. but I find it just on the other side of the hazard on the right here. So I'm clear of the hazard. I'm actually in a pathway, which is clear. And I'm like, I have no shot to get down here. I should have pitched up and gone, but I decided to go forehand roller with the Sagara, which I don't know if it was a good idea or a bad idea, because here I am now sitting two with a crazy putt forehand thing down the hill. I decided to flick the P3X here. I don't even know if I caught it really on camera, but I throw that shot down there, and you could kind of see it in the right there. It just ends up in a horrible spot. I put 0 turn on it. I have this downhill putt for par. I'm not happy with my execution thus far, and so I go to make this putt, and I leave it just high. Another bogey, +6, which I can't be horribly mad at. It was my first competitive round with myself, but anyways, hole 15 here, par 3, 150 feet. I like this turnover line, and a good shot, hit a tree, bounced back. I have a putt at it, and I don't know if I left the clips in here or not, but I putted this 3 times, and all 3 times I didn't even get it close to the basket. Never gave it a chance to get up in the basket. I'm not sure why my putt came out on Anheuser like it did there. My Anheuser putt is not my par here. Take another par here. Moving on to hole 16, 150 feet, par 3, island hole, going Luna. I think this might be the first time I've thrown the Luna all day, but I know this is my Luna shot. Beautiful little shot, hits the tree and just kicks a little bit to the right of the basket. Easy birdie. Happy birdie. Very happy with that birdie. Moving on to hole 17, par 3, 404 feet, plays closer to probably 430. And again, I'm going back to this Thrasher that I threw on hole 14. I really liked the flight of it. Plus, I get out in the wind here. It's a little bit of a tailwind on this shot. I just cooked it to the ground. I was trying way too hard to blast it down there. Zone here for the upshot. This upshot is not fabulous. It's actually kind of crummy. Again, I should have known that it was going to stay straight with the way the wind was blowing. It was like a tail left to right, and it didn't. It just held it out there. So we got ourselves a tricky little 15, 18 footer here. It is not one of those that I wanted, but it is a highlight from this round. But take a par. We're at 5 over, moving into the last hole. Again, mathematically eliminated. Been mathematically eliminated for a little bit, but we're going to finish it out. We go to hole 18, par 3. This is a 433 foot par 3. I play it for par. I have an Onyx in my hand, and it just kind of flips up more than I anticipated to. It's a newer Onyx to my bag, and so, I should have known it better before throwing it in a video or on the course and learned it a little bit more. But it is one of those situations where I thought it was going to be a little bit more stable. Here I am with a zone in my hand, my stable zone, because I want this thing to push hard to the left. I throw it, thought it was great, and get up there, and we are sitting at, edge of circle, deep. I threw a few more up shots and finally figured it out. I got my rangefinder out even to figure out what did so wrong, and it was only 150 foot up shot. But get up here for this putt, and we knock it down. I'm sitting in the truck because it's super windy outside, but I just finished up the round. and I left a lot of strokes out there. Made some tough decisions, made some not so great decisions. Just overall, it just wasn't great by any means, way, shape, or form. I started off really well, and I either A, ran out of steam, or B, ran out of mental capacity to make a good decision along the way. And so, I don't know, we're going to keep working. We're going to keep working. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't great, though, by any means. I'm going to look this up really fast. And see what I shot would have rated at that event. So it's a 57. So I shot a 63 today. I shot 6 over. And in that event, it would have rated 906. And so, rating-wise, it's not horrible. But honestly, there were some poor decisions on the course. And it just wasn't great. Looking at my scorecard, I had a 5. No, I had 1, 2, 3 5s. 2 of them for doubles, 1 of them for a single bogey, and then a 7. Those numbers can't happen. Those numbers cannot happen. And so, one of my 5s and 7s were back to back. I mean, that kind of, I think that took the steam out of the engine. If we're honest. But we're gonna keep going. It's not over yet. There's still a good chance that we can figure this out. And so we will be doing this again later on in the season, just once things have changed a little bit. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you clicking on the video. I might re-record this as editor me later on. But until next time, remember to keep walking those fairways with intention.